Hey everyone, welcome back to another vlog here on the channel. I hope you're all doing well because today is March 1st, 2023, which is very cool because it's a new month and it just feels exciting to see the other side of the world, if that makes any sense. But lo and behold, it's a new day and I hope you're all doing well. And I have to say, I feel always so grateful to be able to do this and share my life with you all. And I say it every time, but thank you so much for watching my videos. Thank you so much for just letting me be me, and that's all I could ever ask for. But yesterday, if you all didn't know, I had definitely wrapped up my very first ever month-long birthday charity stream where I was raising money for the North Shore Animal League, and we raised an equal amount of $1,800 for the animals, which is very cool. And I will put all the links down below in the description in case you want to check out the North Shore Animal League in Port Washington, New York. But for now, since it is currently around, I think it is actually 3 p.m. right now, so I need to get out and go to the post office, renew my library book, get gas for my car, and get groceries, and also get a car wash all in the same day because I've been procrastinating cleaning my car lately because I've been so busy this entire month, mainly in February, just because it was my birthday month, charity streaming, and just overall Black History Month stuff going on. But lo and behold, I felt like it was time to kind of get back in the swing of things, of normalcy, of day-to-day work life stuff. So I've decided to actually do the post office and the car wash and the gas station tomorrow morning. Since everything is basically closed and I don't want to step foot out of my house today, I decided that, you know what, I'm going to do some baking in my kitchen for a change and kind of do like a little step-by-step process for a little funsies moment for the vlog. But if you want to check out the recipe, I will link it down below in the description to my website, springsims.com. And I'm making oatmeal raisin muffins, but in a different way. But all the ingredients that you basically need is salt, ground cinnamon, baking powder, vanilla extract. If you want to use like cran raisins or pecans or whatever kind of substance you want to use for like crunchiness or whatever, you can use whatever you want, but again, it's like an optional thing. But today I'm using cranberry raisins, like the dried cranberry raisins I get from Aldi's or wherever you basically shop. So instead of using eggs, I'm going to be using flaxseed because my mom said it's great. I like it. It's wonderful to use as a egg substitute, and for me, eggs are expensive. They're crazy expensive around here and I refuse to buy more eggs. So I've been using a lot of flaxseed and chia seeds as a little substitute because it's way easier and so simple and less messy. So flaxseed if you want to use that, or chia seeds, or whatever egg substitute you want to use basically for yourself. But the main ingredient that you definitely do need is rolled oats or some type of like oat substance to put it all together. And of course you don't have to use oats. There's other ways to kind of combine the muffins together to make it, you know, together. But I'm using oats because I want to use up all my oats and might as well. I'm going to be using all-purpose flour, and of course you can use like almond flour or whatever flour that you have. but I'm using all-purpose flour because why not? It seems easier that way. And of course, I've tried like other flours too, like almond flour and whole wheat flour, and it's worked exactly the same with no issues. And then the last and final thing you need is baking soda. Now, all these measurements are pretty easy to like do. You don't really need that much, but there are 2 more ingredients that you actually need that I just forgot. You need oil, first and foremost, to, you know, put it all together. And the final thing you need is applesauce. Now, for me, I'm using the unsweetened applesauce, and you can use sweetened applesauce, cinnamon applesauce, whatever applesauce you really want to use. I'm just using the unsweetened one because it's tastes better to me. At least I'm not really a sweet person. I don't like candy that much, and every once in a while I'll buy candy, but like I don't really like sweets. It ruins my teeth and it's not great. Now, as for the measurements, what I have on my phone is that you need 1 cup of oats right here, and I need to get all of my tools because I'm telling you, I only ever do baking streams. I never kind of do a step-by-step process of baking on a vlog, but this is like the first one. But you need 1 cup of oats. So to be perfectly honest with you all, it's always best to have 2 separate bowls, 1 wet and 1 dry for the ingredients. That way you don't get them all mixed up, and you can pour the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients, mix them all up and stuff like that. So after the 1 cup of oats, you need 1 cup of flour. But for me, I'm using 2 cups of flour since I'm doing 2 batches. And if you are like doing 3, just kind of tack on another one to the main one. So look, if it's like a half, do 1.5 cups or something like that. But which, now that I think about it, I should probably put into my my little container to put all my flour in, which will make it easier and less messy. So I'll do that later after the fact. You know, I'm not really a very clean baker. I'm very messy. Like, what you all just did not see is I made a huge mess of a bunch of flour, and it's all over my floor, which is not great, which I'll have to clean later. But for now, we have our 2 cups of oats and flour in this lovely bowl here, which is very nice. And now next what we need is to have 1/2 cup of brown sugar. So we got the 1 cup of brown sugar, pour that in there. And I meant to mention, I'm using light brown sugar instead of like this regular brown sugar, but it's light brown sugar. I've been using it for years and it works wonders. I don't know why, but I just do great things with it. But now, the next thing that you want to add into your lovely mixing bowl here is 2 or 1/2 cup of raisins, but I'm using a whole cup. Again, we're using my whole cup for like forever. But honestly, if you want to be willy-nilly and crazy and eyeball it, do that, which honestly, I'm going to eyeball it. I am a person who's like, if it's loose, eyeball it, because the more the merrier. I just think it makes it way better. You have more variety in your things, and it's just, I don't know. Like, does anyone else like love baking more than anything? You just like, you make whatever you want to make and it turns out really nice. It may look ugly, it may look a little bit sad, but honestly, it tastes good. Sometimes I always think the uglier it is, the better it tastes. I don't want to tell you, I think it's just wonderful. But nonetheless, we have our things in here, but now we need to add in 4 teaspoons of baking powder. And I have quite enough, and I already have like another one that I could use, but let's use our big old giant oh no, here it is. I couldn't find my spoon, but we're gonna do 4 scoops of these because there is no such thing as a 2 teaspoon spoon. You just use the whole teaspoon and scoop it 4 times, and you are basically good to go. So the next thing you need is ground cinnamon. Now, personally for me, when I was like a beginner baker and following all the steps and everything, I would like, you know, be all precise and neat and tidy, which basically if you're like that person, you would need 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. But honestly, now that I'm older, I just eyeball it and I put as much as I want, but I should be very careful because this stuff, even though it's like 99 cents, I don't want to go through it like hotcakes, and we don't have time for that. But for me, we gonna eyeball because I'm crazy. Now, was that 1/2 teaspoon or a whole teaspoon? Probably not. It was probably like 3, but do I care? No, because I'm the one eating it and I love food. So the next thing you need to get is your baking soda, and if you're doing one batch, you need to do 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda or like a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. I always want to say baking powder, but it's baking soda. I don't know what's wrong with me today. So there'll be a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda in there. And now next what you need to get for your dry ingredients, and this should be the last one, is your salt. Now with salt, it can be salty or sweet at the same time, depending on who you are and thinking you're fancy. But we're using salt, and you only need basically a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. But 2 batches, it's a 1/2, because you know, quarter to quarter, get 50 cents, and the 1/2 of a dollar. But you know, we have our moments here. This is the wrong one. So let's go ahead and pour our 1/2 teaspoon of salt here so we can get that out the way. Pour that in. There we go. And now all of our dry ingredients are basically done. Now, what you can definitely do next is, of course, stir it all in if you would like to right now. But I personally want to be able to get the wet ingredients done and out the way, because using flaxseed is a little bit more different than using eggs, because flaxseed needs to sit for at least 5 minutes. And if you don't know, to make 1 egg, you need a 1 tablespoon of flaxseed. And since I'm doing 2, it'll be 2 teaspoons of flaxseed and 6 tablespoons of water. So I have my bowl, and I have my lovely little utensil here, which is a 1/2 tablespoon, because I can't find my whole tablespoon spoon here. But since I'm doing 2 batches of, you know, my little muffins here, I will need to do basically 2 tablespoons of flaxseed and 6 tablespoons of water. Stir it all together, and basically it'll absorb in 5 minutes, and you can dump it into your wet ingredients with your oil and your applesauce and your vanilla extract, and you're good to go to put it all into your lovely dry ingredients, and it'll be all good in the hood. So since I'm doing basically 2, I'll need to do 4 scoops of this, since it's like a 1/2 tablespoon, which is very weird. And I don't really know where my like whole tablespoon is at all. But you know what? I'm gonna find it one way or another. But honestly, I really figured that it might be at my parents' house, and I lost it there. And I don't feel like getting it because I'm lazy. But you know, what can we really do, honestly? What can we really do? So I have my flaxseed in the bowl here. Now I just need all the water, and we can stir it all in, and then we'll let it sit while we stir our dry ingredients as it, you know, sits over here. So while we have the flaxseed doing their little thing and doing their activation, we are just stirring up the lovely dry ingredients of like cran raisins and ground cinnamon and baking soda and baking powder and brown sugar and flour, basically everything. Now personally, when I'm baking something in the kitchen, I'm like thinking, what can I make today? What can I do something different? Can it be creative? Can it be exciting? Can it be differently different? Just like little funsies, you know? Now, I don't know if y'all are on TikTok or not, but there's this one person on TikTok that does all these videos saying, everybody's so creative. And I'm like thinking, oh my gosh, this lady funny as heck. And she reminds me of Tiffany Haddish, that actress on TV and movies and stuff. But she is hilarious. I will link down below her TikTok if you want to follow her and check out her videos, because I'm not joking. The things you see her react to are just absolutely astonishing. Like, it's different. People be baking some random stuff in their oven for 7,500 days at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Like, you must be out of your licking mind thinking that you can make corn and leave the paper in the pan with like butter and sour cream and other things that just look different and look soupy at the end. No, we are not having no soupy casserole. That's just nasty. But anyway, nonetheless, it's all on our TikTok. It's great. And I'm actually just using my phone right now because my camera battery actually died. And to be honest though, I feel like an actual baker. I can make a whole cooking show right here, right now, and I feel like I should. I should make a cooking video, like a whole video of like just cooking. If you have any suggestions, let me know. If you have any ideas, link me down below in the comments of some recipes you want me to make on a video here on the channel. Because this channel, Hello Spring, is an experimental channel of vlogging, podcasting, cooking, and other things. I call it my multi-purpose channel because it's a lot of multi things with a purpose, kind of. Nonetheless, we have our things going and growing, which is wonderful. So we have our bowl here for our wet ingredients, and basically all you really need is, like I said, applesauce, vanilla extract, your lovely oil here, and of course your flax seeds are still, doing its thing. Now, right now, honestly, it's absorbing everything, which is very nice. It may look a little bit, watery, but honestly, it's working in my favor and it's going to turn out so good. And I'm very excited about that too. But while we have that, so we can go and do our little applesauce. Now, if you're doing one batch, you need to do 3/4 cups of applesauce. But since I'm doing two, I'm just going to do whatever 3/4 times 2 is, because I honestly don't know and math hurts my brain. So we're going to do this and I think it'll be great. So for now, we're going to be using a whole cup here because I know that I'll just need to do basically, I don't know, I can't remember math. Either way, we're going to do 2 of these right here. It will be great. I feel like the more applesauce, the better. But honestly, like I said again in the past, I am a messy baker. I make no sense half the time. But all I know, if it tastes good, it tastes good. There's no matter what it is, it's gonna be good in the hood. So let's pour all of our applesauce into here. I already have like another one of these because I bought them like 2 weeks ago. And personally, I'm kind of glad that I did. Always make sure you stock up on your ingredients before you start making anything, because there was a time in my life where I did a baking stream and I just ran out of flour. And I was like, well, no more flour for me today, and that was that. But never again will I run out of flour. Flour is just wonderful, and I think it's just really, really great. Now, the best tip I have, if you have little to no applesauce in here, it's always good to turn it upside down and then like just shake it so it goes all the way down to the bottom. Now, personally, applesauce is just crazy when it gets stuck at the bottom, but when you are able to shake it down, it's kind of a win-win scenario. Now, the next thing you need to do is get your olive oil or whatever oil you might have and do 1/3 cup of olive oil. But since I'm doing 2, like I said multiple times in this video, I'm doing 2/3 cup of olive oil. And I have my lovely 1/3 cup here, which is wonderful. I think so great. I make no sense, but hey, we do what we do. And we're gonna get 2/3 cup of oil into our lovely wet bowl with our applesauce, and then soon enough we're going to be doing our vanilla extract next. So now that we have our applesauce and oil in here, the next step we need is our lovely vanilla extract. And now you need to do 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. But since I'm doing 2, like I said again, I'm doing 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Which honestly, vanilla extract, it's so expensive. I did not realize how expensive this stuff was until I looked at the price and I'm like, for this little bottle, it costs how much again? You must be out of your looking mind. You must be crazy. But always be careful on how much you be using. Because this right here, it may be little. It may be, very nice smelling, but it's so dang expensive and you don't want to fork out a lot of money for this. So again, be careful what you do and how you use it. We got our vanilla extract all in and ready to go. This looks like a hot mess, but it smells really good. So now that we have all those in here, we can go ahead and put in our lovely flaxseed that we have here, which is wonderful. And to be honest, I feel like it could sit for a little bit longer, but at the same time, I think it's like kind of good to go to pour into this lovely bowl here and start mixing it up. So we're just gonna pour that in. So now that we have all of our wet ingredients into one bowl, we can start mixing it up and having it all combined together. Now, personally, it's gonna look ugly, but it's gonna be so good. Just trust me. I always say trust the process. If you're not a baker, you don't like to cook, or you don't know how to cook, or you just don't know how to do anything, basically, follow the instructions. Trust me. The instructions are there to help you, guide you, not jack you up and look like a fool on the internet like I'm doing today, but also just, have fun with it. Baking and cooking is all about having fun, experimenting, trying things that you haven't done before, and seeing what you can accomplish. Because at the end of the day, you made something from your own two little hands, and it turned out very, very well. Or at least you hope it turned out well. So now that we have our dry bowl and wet bowl, we can go ahead and pour our wet ingredients into our lovely dry ingredients, so we can have them all mixed in together, and hopefully it turns out well. It looks like puke. And honestly, trigger warning, if puke is gross, I am so sorry, but it looks like it. But trust me, besties, it smells so good because with the vanilla, applesauce, and then also the oil, and then the flax seeds all mixed together with all the dry ingredients, it smells really, really good. It all turns out the same, and it all tastes very, very good. And like, since I didn't use any eggs, it's like, I guess, way more healthier because eggs have some weird stuff in it, and it's just like not great. And they're very expensive. And flax seeds and chia seeds are very inexpensive, so you can buy them at any store that has them, and which I'm pretty sure every store has them wherever you live. You might find them in a very perfect place, like Walmart or Aldi's or Rulers or Target or whatever store you have nearby you. Ask for if they have like chia seeds or flax seeds. If they do, great. If they don't, then that's on them. They lost a customer that day. So we have our two little muffin pans here. We got the little minis and then we got the biggies. I got both these from Amazon, and I'll be linking my Amazon storefront in case anybody wants to buy any baking things that I might have here today or at any time of my apartment. But I always like to start with the big ones and then work my way down to the small ones to see how many I kind of fill in before I do anything. And luckily with these are silicone, so they don't really require any like special oil or anything. I can just pour them in and they are basically kind of like good to go. So now that we have our muffins in their individual pans, for the big ones and the small ones, it is now time to put them in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 to 25 minutes. And hopefully in that time frame, they will turn out very good and very tasty, which I know they will because I've done this recipe so many times that I've basically perfected oatmeal cranberry raisin muffins. And honestly, it's going to be delicioso. But let's go and put them in the oven, and I will see you basically in 25 minutes. So the muffins are officially out the oven, and they turned out very, very good. I'm very surprised on how many I made, and I'm kind of glad that I did what I did. And to be honest, since these were 2 batches, we have a lot more minis than biggies, and I might do it again next week. But we'll definitely see because I still have a lot more ingredients. I can still make even more if need be. Now for the biggies, they turned out very, very well. They're very soft, very nice looking. And even like the bottom part is very nice too. Like look at this muffin. Like look at this. It looks so nice from like the front. And then like you turn to the back, it is very nice goldeny brown and it's gonna be very tasty to eat and I cannot wait to try it. Even though I know what it will taste like, it's still gonna be like a new experience for me, since I use flaxseed instead of chia seeds this time. But nonetheless, everything turned out very well and I'm kind of glad I did what I did. And if you want to try out the recipe for yourself, the one that I did today, again, I will link it down below in the description to springsims.com. It'll be the top recipe so you can have it and you'll be good to go. But either way, I'm gonna put my camera down so I can eat my dinner, my muffins, and watch The Last of Us episode 7 because the season finale ends on Sunday and honestly, I just want to prepare myself so I can cry and not cry twice in one day because I have no time for that at all. So I'm going to cry tonight and then cry on Sunday and then all will be fine in the world and will be great. But nonetheless, I will see you in the morning at the post office and yeah. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. It is currently March 2nd, 2023. I just got done doing all my errands at the post office, mailed all of my orders and my giveaway prizes to everyone in their rightful, respectful places. And then I went to the library and got 2 books, but technically renewed 1 book that was overdue, and then got a brand new book because personally, I'm trying to prioritize reading a little bit more this year. And now that I'm 27, I feel like my brain is like, you should learn big words more and understand what you're saying on a higher level, because I'm not a reader, but I'm trying to become a reader. So I think if I start with books that are shorter but interesting and in my favorite genre of like book, I will like to read them a lot more. But I got this book that is called Exactly Where You Need to Be. Now, this book is made by, or written by, Amelia Diane Combs, and I've never heard of this author before, but it is so cool that I kind of like this book because each chapter is like a different location that this character is in, and they're traveling from one place to a whole other place in like California. And I really like it. They start in Washington and then they go all the way up into, I believe, no, they end up still in Washington, but they're like kind of doing like a little road trip type of thing. And from what I've read so far, it actually is really, really cool. And then the other book that I wanted to read that I thought was really cool, because it was green and it's my mom's favorite color, and it's also March, St. Patrick's Day is coming up at some point soon, and I just wanted to read something different. But this book is called Trust, and it's written by Haran Diaz, and honestly, I've heard good things about this author. They make really, really good books. They keep your interest. They're very narrative. They're very genius at writing. And each chapter that you read, you learn something new. And I have to say, this is going to be a very interesting book to read because it's something that I am not well versed in, but also I like history. I wasn't really good at history in school, but I love reading about history in books that have to do storytelling. And it's like so cool. So for the majority of the time, we're gonna zip bop beep bop boop to the car wash, get it washed and get it cleaned on the inside, and then head back home for all of my things I need to do, because I realized that I need a lot more groceries than needed, because with my cooking stream coming up on the 14th, I still have to get a lot more, and I want to coordinate things with my mom and see what she has and what I have, so I don't have to buy too much, but especially we can just like combine all of our things together, because we're doing a cooking / baking stream on my Twitch channel, episode 3 of Cooking with Spring, and I'm very excited about that. But nonetheless, I might go grocery shopping tomorrow and get gas tomorrow so I can do it all in one day, because my mom has the Sam's card and I want to go to a place in St. Louis to get certain ingredients for all of my cooking, baking needs. But it is what it is. So I recently went to a hibachi sushi type grill in Decatur, Illinois with my grandpa, my mom, my dad, and my aunt, and let me tell you, It was the best experience I've ever had in my entire life. The chefs were creative, the people were very nice, the restaurant itself was just a nice overall experience. And I've been to one before, but nothing like this. And I have to say, they lit onions on fire and they cook right in front of you, and it is so surreal. Like the fact that they lit onions on fire in front of me, like I was 2 inches away from the fire. And I thought my eyebrows were to fly off and burn off and never grow back, but luckily they did. But however, it was such a fun place to be and like see the food prepared in front of me. I had fried rice, filet mignon, salmon, and like vegetables. And it was so good. It wasn't too salty. It was like just right, steamy, hot off the stove, and just delicious. And I kind of want to do this again in the future for myself, just to experience it again and see what it's like, but in a different environment. But for the most part, this hibachi thing was actually really cool. But let me know in the comments below if you've ever been to a hibachi grill restaurant in your life.